Hi there. Okay, so on to day 6 of the Viewfinder song explanations, and we come to the title track of the album, Viewfinder. Now, this is a very simple explanation to this one, really. It was written roughly in the period between sort of 96, 97. We moved back down to Bristol in 97, and I know that I'd written it just before then. So I would suggest it's probably early 97, late 96, early 97. And really, it was kind of, I'd become very influenced by a lot of old records again, and specifically the Beatles. And I love the way the Beatles used descending chord patterns, and I was experimenting a bit with that. But also, I'd fallen in love with Paul Weller's Wildwood album, and was really knocked out with how he'd reinterpreted that kind of 70s style, organic sort of, I think in many ways, old-fashioned recording techniques. It sounded like an organic record, and it sounded, in many ways, it could have been Led Zeppelin, some of the softer Led Zeppelin moments, you know, a lot of blues in there, a lot of rhythm and blues, but using sort of guitar in a way that I hadn't heard for quite some time, specifically from someone like Paul Weller. I thought, was quite a revelation, but a fantastic album, and it really did inspire me, So this song really was me. Again, I'd started working with Matt Eldridge on drums, and Roger Davis and me had been working together quite a bit by this point on songs, but I wanted to have a band again, and we'd started rehearsing, and I wanted to do some proper recording, but with me playing guitar. So I needed to come up with some simple guitar parts, because I am no guitar player, as we know. So really, that was the premise of this idea. I wanted to use a descending chord pattern and write a song that I think encapsulated my feelings about where I was at the time and how I was feeling about getting back into playing live rock and roll, even though I hadn't done any gigs at this point. Well, certainly not since the end of the Ignorance Bliss period. So the song really is me musing on the concept of how music has changed, and how I was now beginning to feel like an old man, even though I was only 30 at the time, or whatever I was, 30 in fact, yes. And but just discussing how things had changed, whilst I'd been away, because I'd spent quite a bit of time in the wilderness. And 2 or 3 years, and 2 or 3 years is a long time in the music business. And so I think I was listening to the radio and listening to things like Cooler Shaker and all these bands that were emerging that were the so-called new wave of British guitar music, and wondering where I fit into that. And so, but also sort of knowing that I'd been an observer of all of this since the moment I got into the music business, and so it wasn't all bad. And so the lyrics depicts that. I'm looking for a viewfinder to see what I can find, and that it is what it says on the tin, really. It's me looking around and wondering where it's all going to go, and how I can contribute to this art form.